name is Jack Bybee. I'm the host and presenter of the Jack Chat or the Jack Chat Show. I am just delighted, absolutely delighted, as I sit here in Tucson, Arizona. Welcome my viewers from around the world, from Russia, from China, from Indonesia, the Netherlands, the UK, Germany, Switzerland. The spirit leaving the body, the dust to dust, earth, ashes to ashes, physical body on the earth plane, and life continues. We spoke in the first and second chats. I spoke about the need to acclimatize oneself to the to moving, to thinking, seeing, feeling, hearing in spirit. The body is no longer there, is no longer present, and the spirit continues ad infinitum, into eternity, I would imagine. I'm convinced of it, but it's very, very, very difficult to prove that to anyone else. Orientating your awareness, your consciousness, to being able to move around in spirit is rather interesting. But you really don't have much time to think about that, because in my instance, when I had my near-death experience, the tunnel appeared out of the void. And by the way, I promised last week I would have an image of the tunnel as I experienced it. I don't have one image, I actually have three. I turned up Hieronymus Bosch's painting, done back in the 1400s, I believe, of the spirit about to move up through this tunnel to the other side and to meet with the being of light, God. I also turned up, thanks to NASA and probably the Hubble telescope, or it could be the Chandra telescope as well, an image that I pulled off the website this morning, M51, which is a spiral galaxy off in the cosmos. And then I have my own sketch of how I recollect the tunnel being. All three are most disparate. The one out of earth plane ancient past, the one out of cosmic ancient past, and my own out of this morning. You will, when your time comes, either sooner or later, and hopefully it's a lot later because we all have lessons to learn. I hope you'll be prepared for moving up the tunnel to meet with that wonderful concept, the being of light, God. I would like to draw, before I get too deep into the chat, I would like to draw your attention to one thing. If you have comments, if you have questions, if you have issues that you'd like me to address on the show, please go to jackchatshow.com/contact.html, or go to jackchatshow.com. It's on the contact page. You'll find your form. All you got to do is leave me your email address, your first name, a question, a comment, or whatever. As those of you who've been listening to me previously know, there are a couple of near-death researchers in this country who have helped me tremendously to come to a better understanding. specifically Dr. Raymond Moody, Kenneth Ring, Bruce Grayson, PMH Atwater. Their texts are all on the resource page at thejackchatshow.com. What I do want to refer to is Dr. Moody, Raymond Moody, has mentioned, I think it's in Life After Life, that much of his research concerns his research has turned up the three questions that the spirit is often asked as it begins to move into the tunnel. Those three questions form the basis of this entire Jack Chat. The three questions I was asked and the way I remember them are not quite the same as what other experiences report. That's perfectly understandable to me. We all live our lives individually, and the way we've lived our life, to me, says we're going to experience the fruits of our lives on the other side. Just before entering the tunnel, I recall having the voice, the being of light, God, ask me the three questions. The first is, what have you done with the life just past? Well, I immediately thought, what life just passed? I'm still alive. As I mentioned before, I could see, I could feel, I could hear, I could think. What life just passed? The second question, whom have you loved and been loved by? The third, what have you learned? Now, in this chat, I'll be going on to discuss the life review, which for someone like myself, a near-death experiencer, is probably the most important thing that has ever happened to me, because I have what I can only term memories of eternity. As I've said before, many people know about the changes that occur in the near-death experiencer, myself included. And not that I notice the changes so much, but others have noticed it in me. And those changes, I am of a firm belief, are due solely to the life review. In the life review, you basically review the life just past. It's a very interesting and rather scary concept in some sense. The one instance that I so vividly recall that I spoke about at the experiences panel at the IANS convention, the International Association of Near-Death Studies in Virginia Beach in 2006. I told the controlled audience, or selected audience, I should say, not controlled, selected audience, about what I call the Bridget's rag doll. I was about 6, maybe 7 years old, maybe 8, old enough to know right from wrong. In my hometown, my parents were friendly with another couple. They had a cute little red-haired daughter. She was probably about the same age as I was. I wish I was that age now. No, I don't. And Bridget had her little stroller, toy stroller, what you call in English a pram. And in her stroller pram, she had a rag doll. Her mother calls her in for cookies and some milk, and I stay around on the lawns outside. Close by is a fish pond, and the rag doll is in the stroller. I don't know what on earth got into me, but I picked up the rag doll and threw it in the fish pond. On top of that, I put a stone on it so that it wouldn't come up to the surface. All went well. We played, and little boys and little girls, we played. And then I went home. That night, the phone goes. Does John know what has happened to Bridget's ragdoll? No, I do not know what has happened to the ragdoll. Why would I know about the ragdoll? The next morning, the phone goes again. Are you sure John doesn't know about the ragdoll? I call myself John. I was John in those days. I call myself Jack now. And, no big deal. And I lied again. No, I do not know. I'm a little boy. I don't play with dolls. End of argument. That's it. Over and done with. No, it's not. In my life review at age 26, having totally and completely forgotten about that incident, I hadn't given it thought for years. I again experienced a throwing Bridget's ragdoll in the fish pond. Then I saw the consequences of my actions. And what was happening? The gardener had fished out about 2 weeks later the ragdoll. It was disintegrated, and Bridget's heart was broken. Now, fast forward 10, 15, maybe 20 years, and Bridget's in a relationship. It didn't work out. And the next one came. And then came alcohol. And then came drugs. And that one didn't work out as well. Then came marriage. And that didn't work. And then she attempted suicide. That didn't succeed at first. The third time, it did. People have asked me when I've told this story, and it's very real to me. It might sound just like I sucked it out of my thumb, but no, this is a very real thing for me. People have asked me, but do you take on the blame, the guilt for her eventually committing suicide? No. That I won't allow myself to do. But it underscores, and why I tell this tale regularly, it underscores the consequences of our actions. Here was a rag doll that I picked up and threw in the fish pond. Little boys do things like that. Well, that's my excuse at least. And I saw and felt the hurt that I created. Is that the loving thing to do? That's the lesson I learned. That's the lesson I firmly believe we all have to learn. Be aware of the consequences of your actions. The life review is one thing, but I also, in a future talk next week, I'll be interviewing Dr. Libby Smith. Dr. Smith works with energy and horses up in Flagstaff, Arizona. I've interviewed her. I'm editing the recording in the very near future, and I'm going to be talking to Dr. Smith about some very interesting energy work that she's doing. But I'm also going to be expanding on that first question. What have you done with the life just past? Let me give a few more details about what I can remember of the life review, and it's quite interesting. It's a flashback of the life just past. No one, no one can tell what happens when the spirit transitions in the end to the other side in what everybody calls as death, because there's no one who comes back to tell the tale like a near-death experiencer. But the life review does focus on emotional highs, emotional events in the life just past. What many overlook is that you feel, or not you, the spirit feels the consequences of the action. And often I was shown the effect on that person for 6 generations down. Now, this latter point, I'm a little bit dubious about, but I can see it. I can understand it. I've not researched it. I've not gone into it, but that's where that stands. As I've said just previously, the life review is, to me, as a near-death experiencer, the most important thing that's happened to my life. Does this happen for the spirit transitioning across the border to death? I strongly think it does. There's obviously no evidence that I can turn up, but it probably serves to prepare the spirit for the next life. Pardon me while I turn a page. The beauty of the life review, the 3 questions, the tunnel, is, and what it's fascinating to me. I can't say I'm obsessed by it, but these issues are very, very interesting. And this past week and last week as well, I dug deeper and deeper and deeper. And Google and the internet search engines turned up almost nothing. 1 or 2 instances that describe what life is like on the other side. Here I am, a near-death experiencer, and I can describe what life is like on the other side of consciousness, in death consciousness. It's a scary thought for me. I've just come to this realization in a few weeks. I've been asking questions. I haven't been to the local imam. I might just do that, but I've been to 2 ministers of religion, the church I go to. They've drawn a blank, except for 1 instance. But it's the instances that religion comes up with, understandably, is because of earth plane examples. Hieronymus Bosch got it pretty accurate with his tunnel leading to the other side. I forget the title of the painting. The Ascent of the Blessed, I think. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, the interesting thing for me is that this is all coming about, and the near-death experience. Why, of course, the near-death experiencer has come to such common terms, and why, quite frankly, I'm alive now, is because of medical science and improved resuscitation techniques. If it hadn't been for an oxygen tent, if it hadn't been for trained medical staff in Cape Town, South Africa, for better or for worse, I would have flatlined. And that would have been it. Kaput. Finished, klar, over and done with. But I was called back. My father was at my bedside when I recovered consciousness, earth plane consciousness. I still remember this the incident of why the spirit, the ascended masters on the other side, the ancient ones, were encouraging me to return so quickly. And that is because when my spirit again entered my physical body, my body was being wheeled to the hospital morgue. I was dead. Well, I've written a short story about that. I still burst out laughing when I realized that I scared the living daylights out of the two porters pushing me on the trolley down the passage to the hospital morgue. And I sat upright, very sore and very tired and exhausted. And I sat upright and said, "Where's the light? Where are my friends?" The Afrikaner porter in the front whirled around. He looked at me, and quite frankly, the swing doors at the bottom of the passage, all I saw next was these doors gyrating madly, trying to hold on to their hinges. And I think the poor Afrikaner is still running. Anyway, that's the chat for today. I urge you, please, in Russia, in China, in Indonesia, wherever you are on the planet, if you enjoy this chat, if you are benefiting from it, please tell your friends, email, hand out an email, go viral as far as I'm concerned, www.jackchatshow.com. Contact me with any questions. And with 2 minutes to go on the show, may you walk in peace, journey in delight. May the blessings of the Perfect One be with you and yours. Till next week, alles van die beste, Jack out.